Alright folks, sometime today we're going to do a startup on this. I got the accelerator pump on the carburetor. I filled it up with gas. I didn't fire it yet. I need to, I got me the water pump. I did get it hooked up and everything working. My fan works for the front. My fuel pump works. I've tried the ignition before, so I know my ignition works. My starter turns over. All I need to do is make an exhaust for it now, because I want to be able to hear this motor when it's running. Yeah, my mounts ain't the straightest by the looks of it, but it'll hold it. Yeah, it's solid. It ain't like a dyno. It doesn't have to be mounted super. It's got 4 mounting positions, one on each side there, and one on each side of the back. So I'm not going to be flipping this thing out of here. I just don't know of a motor that's got too much torque to where you're gonna rev it and get it to flip out of there or break bolts. I'm sure it's possible, but I'm not gonna beat on it that hard right here. We're just gonna run this and drain the oils and clean the shit out of it. Excuse me, the crap out of it. Check the oil pressures, get some heat cycles on it. I've got a couple oil changes. Well, I got the one that's in it, and I've got another one for it after we run it. And then I've got another one when we get it in the car. So we're gonna try to make sure we flush everything out of this. I don't know how much crap is in it. Some of my wiring's a little long, but as long as it don't touch the headers. Yeah, I got O2 sensors hooked on it, but nothing to read them. So I would like to have something to read them for this. That would be nice. At least I could set the air fuel ratios, set the distributor and mark them, and when I do put them in the car, I can just mark everything, put everything back to the scratch marks. Alright, but this is what we are doing today. I separated it. This is what we found. Okay. We already know it has a broken bell housing. That's what we're doing today. I'm gonna try to weld cast iron. So, and this one has a crawler. Looks like, yeah, a crawler going up here. I'm gonna have to drill that right up in there. Wow, you can see where that bolt had been wallering in that hole. That's crazy. Man. But the shaft looked good. And the clutch disc looked good. But from it being spread out, and my theory was right, somebody had just put a clutch in this, and I think they put every bolt in it finger tight and started using it, because it walked out. I mean, literally, this disc hasn't had a chance to even really break in, but because they didn't get it in straight. Look at what it did on the inside of that spline. Can you believe that? It literally chewed like a grinder. Chewed it right out. Ooh, I killed a bug. How'd I do that? Must just did it, wasn't paying attention. Yuck. Yup. Oh, you can see where it started rubbing on the rivets. That's on the pressure plate. We got a new one coming. Luckily it was rubbing on that side. It wasn't rubbing on the flywheel side anywhere, 'cause the flywheel looks pretty good. I mean, it needs to be cleaned, of of course, but it looks good. There's no cracks or anything. And I'm just amazed that this shaft was strong enough to grind. I mean, you can see where it's taking the little lines off the piece here. But I think that shaft is going to be fine to use. Or at least we hope so. I'd hate to have to weld that up and grind that back down, especially in the transmission. But it didn't wear this out, didn't tear up the front. I mean, I can still feel the little line grooves. I don't know if y'all can see those. You can hear them. See like this? Line grooves. Same thing back here on the shaft. You can see where they're worn off up here though. But I mean, I need to measure that just for the fun of it and see how much has worn off that. But yeah, let me grab the clutch disc. When you do have a spline on it, it does, well, I guess it don't. Yeah. I guess I don't have it lined up right. I gotta use two hands. That's what tripod's for. Can you all see that? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that spline doesn't want to fit over it. Yeah, that's because they're all boogered up. I think it'll probably be tight enough once I get the new clutch. We'll see. But I think it'll be tight enough. When it's not loose and moving around, I mean, we'll have to measure. See, this flywheel's pretty much straight with the bell housing, straight with the front of that spline, sticks out from that bell housing just a little bit. So your clutch disc is going to be in, probably in a little bit, at least halfway in on this, I'm guessing. We'll see. We'll see how much that clutch and the pressure plate and everything sticks out from the flywheel and see where it's going to sit on here. And then we'll slide the disc on there and see. Alright guys, that's what we're doing today. I'm gonna try and oof, that's terrible right there, and grind this up and weld it. And I'm using a MIG welder with wire. So mainly we're gonna be making it work for, oh look at that dowel pin does stick out. It ain't even sticking out on this side. There's no dowel pins on this motor. There's supposed to be, yeah, there's another one right there. Neither one of them, they're both knocked out, knocked back. So I could probably dowel pin this motor better. Knock these forward once I get it up here and get it straight right around it. That'll work good. But it's gonna be the fun part. I'm hoping I can get this to seat as tight as I can get it right in up against it, which is really close. Y'all can see that crack. I mean, it didn't distort it too bad or rub it too bad. Down here it did. This is gonna have to be ground a little bit right in here, but you can see what it did to that hole. I mean, somebody's been riding with this thing like this, moving in and out, because there was no bolts. No bolt there, no bolt there. There was one bolt in that center side over there, but it was like 12 turns out. There was no bolt in the bottom, no bolt down there. No bolts in here. I don't know if a bolt goes there. Yeah, it looks like one goes through here or something. Ain't never had one. But I think welding it and putting all the bolts back in it should help us in making them dowel pins work. And putting a clutch in it, and we'll be good to go. I drained the fluid out of it. This thing had, like, came out of a bottle, no water, nothing. So, another plus. So, it looks like the whole expense on this thing is gonna be, well, the clutch is really inexpensive. Shipping, everything, right around $170 off eBay. That's clutch, pressure plate, throwout bearing, pilot, disc, and the most expense we're going to have on this tractor is going to be the hoses, because the motor seemed to run good. Didn't have no expense in that, or the fuel tank. My rag came off of my valve there, or my pump. But yeah, the biggest expense is going to be these hoses, and it's mainly going to be all these hoses right here, because these are all toast. I did move it up and down. I ain't got no seepage that I could find on any of the cylinders, so that's another plus. All the bushings seem good and tight. They all need to be greased up real good. And I've got this one tube right here is no good on the other side, but I'm thinking I could make that into a complete one-piece hose, all the way through, all the way up to it, because it all needs to be replaced. It's all cracked. So I need to just go from here all the way back as a hose, and not a tube down, run a T right there, run it all the way over there, and then run it back all the way down to that one as a one-piece hose, or two-piece hose with a T right here. And I think that'll save me from trying to search down that steel tube. All the other steel tubes look good, but all the other hoses are gone. Some of the fittings right here on the ends are just rusted right away. I mean, these hoses would probably be fine, but you know, if that's my only expense in this tractor, I'm going to change them, because this thing will last you know, this is something Isabel can drive. Bucket needs to be beat a little bit to get some of the flake rust off of it, but like I said, this tractor's pretty close to being free so far, except for the repairs. So, alright y'all, oh, look at that. Something I didn't even notice. This thing's got a place for carrying her trailer around. She can pick it up and down, and the lift does work up and down good. So, knock a few things of rust off of it and pressure wash it and clean it. I did pressure wash some of it just around here so I could get it cleaned up. And then I took off a bracket for the wiring harness, and it was covered with crap underneath it. Alright, we're getting long. Let me get to work. I want to grind and get that bell housing welded. I've welded cast a couple times and it come out good. But trick is, I guess, is just, you know, grind your spot out, get it straight, weld it like you'd weld anything else, but weld it in short burst, and peen the heck out of it when you're, as soon as you're done welding it, just peen on it. Take a punch and peck at it with a hammer or a ball peen. Don't want to beat it too hard. This is cast, but I mean, you want it to where it releases the stress in the joint, because as it cools, it starts, the weld bites and the cast flexes, I think is what it is, something like that. The weld is non-porous where the cast is, and it'll crack away from it. Alright, we'll see how it comes out. Alright, y'all stay tuned. Wish me luck.